Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my 2019 beauty regrets, following on from my favorites video. So I'm going to jump in straight away and let's start off with the face. Let's start off with foundations. So the first one I'm going to show you guys is this one here by Benefit. It's called the Hello Happy Flawless Brightening Foundation. This one is a medium coverage liquid foundation and my shade is in number 7. It slides around on my face. It's patchy, it's greasy, it's awful. I literally used it once and that was it. I hated it that much. It just, despite the fact that it had been set with powder, it would still slide around on my face, and I really don't like that about something like this, especially considering Benefit is such an expensive brand. So in that respect, this is why it's a regret. Another regret is the Oma Beauty Say What Weightless Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. My shade is in Honey T2W. Similar reasons to the Benefit one. It gives amazing coverage, don't get me wrong. It gives flawless, beautiful coverage for the first few hours before the oils start to come through on my face, despite the fact that I've got primer and foundation on, and I start to look greasy very, very quickly. And because of the fact that it's a full coverage foundation, the oils almost look even worse because it's mixing with the foundation, starting to move around on your face, and just does not look great at all. And then the last foundation I'm going to show you guys is this one by MAC. It's their Studio Fix Soft Matte Foundation Stick, and my shade is an NC40. I bought this when I was in Canada. It gives great coverage, but again, it's one of those ones which I know that it's because it's a stick foundation, and stick ones tend to be a lot more emollient sometimes. This one also just does not perform well enough or long enough on my face for me to consider it to be not a regret. It moves around, it slides around, it makes me look shiny, and it just does not perform well at all. Next, let's move on to concealers. I've got 3 to show you guys today. The first one is this one by Revlon. It is the Photo Ready Candid Antioxidant Concealer, and this shade is in 001 Banana. Funnily enough, you guys, I was on Revlon's PR list until I did my very honest review of the foundation, the concealer, as well as the powder, which is in this video, and then they removed me off the PR list. That's just to show you guys what brands are really like in terms of the way that they work with influencers, and I felt the need to mention that in this regrets video because it just goes to show that despite the fact that you guys rely on people like me to trust us, brands just cannot back us. Rather than using our critique to make their products better, the better idea for them is just to remove you off the list altogether. And have you not noticed that I've not done any Revlon videos since? Anyway, this concealer is awful. It comes in a whole like 4 shades or something like that. So this was the only shade that would kind of go with my skin tone. It's so white with a hint of yellow. It just does not perform well at all in terms of the color and the coverage. I can still see my dark circles once I've applied this. I can still see my skin underneath. It makes me look slightly grey and a little bit washed out as well because it just does not have enough of a yellow hint to it, and it creases almost instantly. So in that respect, not a favourite. The Juvia's Place concealer, which my shade is in number 18. Unfortunately, it creases and slides around quite a lot. I love the coverage that it gives. I love the colour of it as well. I loved the foundation and I loved the powder. I just did not love the concealer. It just creases almost immediately, and that kind of really defeats the whole purpose of using an under eye concealer for me, in that it makes me look older and aged instantly, whereas I don't actually have any fine lines under my eyes, so how are you creating them? And probably the worst concealer out of all of the ones I've tried this year was the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. My shade that I had to buy was in light beige because not a single shade that I checked out of the massive range actually went with my skin tone. These oxidize as well, so I had to get quite a lighter shade in order for it to hopefully oxidize and work well, but it still did not. It made me look aged, it made me look old. It's very patchy despite the fact that I used a damp beauty blender. Even when I used it with a brush, it was still very, very patchy, required too much work for me to smooth it out, and then even once it had, it still looked patchy and uneven, and in that respect it is an instant regret. Let's move on to some face powders now because I've got quite a few to show you guys. The first one is the Jeffree Star Magic Powder Setting Powder. My shade was in Banana. Firstly, the smell. Ugh, God, awful. Oh God, I really don't like it. It's like some Coca-Cola smell. This is their banana shade. It looks more like mustard to me. The colour does not work well for me at all. None of the other colours would have worked. This was the only one that was close enough for me. It does not set the concealer. It actually makes the concealer perform a lot more worse than if I had used a different powder, which I found out afterwards. I can't use this on my face because it actually makes me look slightly jaundiced, leaves a slight yellow tinge as well to the skin. Even once I've set it on my face and brushed it off, it still remains a slight amount of colour to my face, and it actually changes the colour of my foundation as well. So as a result of that, I've barely used it, and it's just kind of been sat in my room since I bought it. Another powder, which is a pressed powder, is following on from the Benefit Hello Happy liquid foundation. This is the Hello Happy Velvet Powder Foundation in number 7. I actually bought this with this so that I could use this to set this. This actually made this even more patchy. It did not help. It looks very drying on the skin. It just doesn't perform well. And even though it's a powder foundation, it barely gives enough coverage in order for me to even call it a foundation. It's not even a light coverage foundation. It's just like a powder with a hint of something. Really not worth the money at all. The Revlon Photo Ready Candid Anti-Pollution Setting Powder, which comes in a whopping shade range of 1. This is it, and apparently it's a universal shade. It really is not. It's like a white with a hint of colour to it, so it's almost like a very pale beige. It made me look grey. It made the concealer crease under my eyes. It makes me look aged. It's meant to have a blurring effect to it, which it does not have. And then the most annoying thing is its stupid packaging, which has this big empty section in the middle, and then when you lift it up, indents in here actually sink into the holes, meaning you can't actually get any powder out properly. You have to tip it into the lid, which is really silly packaging. But regardless, it's just not a good powder at all. Another one I'm going to show you, I've actually got 2 of, is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Setting Powder. I got the shade Banana and the shade Honey. Honey is too dark for me, and because of this powder is so bad and just does not work well for me at all, I haven't even bothered to open that one because I know I won't use it. The only time I've used this a few times is when I haven't had another powder to hand, or I've just finished one of my favourite ones and I've just needed something very quickly, so I've taken this out. I find it drying, I find it cakey, I find it creases my under eye concealer. It makes me look oily as well. It kind of works against itself in terms of keeping oil at bay. It actually produces extra oil, and then as a result of that, it also starts to accentuate texture because this is kind of turning oily, so a powder that turns oily will just accentuate anything underneath, and as a result of that, I hate this. Let's move on to the lips. I've got 2 lip things to show you guys. The first one is the Fenty Beauty Stunner Lip Paint, and this is in the shade Unattached. For those of you guys that have watched my videos for a while, you'll know that I love the Fenty Beauty lip paints. I think the quality is one of the best liquid lipsticks on the market. The problem, if anything, is this shade, which a lot of brands just don't know how to do well. It's the coral shade. This is in the shade Unattached. It's patchy on me. It leaves that white line on the middle of my lips. It does not apply evenly at all. No matter how much you try to smush your lips out, blend it as carefully as possible, it's still patchy. The only way I've managed to make this work is by putting another normal lipstick which has a similar colour to this over the top. Then it performs beautifully, but on its own, no good. Another one that I hate, and I don't know why I bought this to this day, is this Undressed 5-piece lip set from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this came out as part of their holiday collection at the end of 2019. Nude, 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 nude. Most of them pretty much don't work for me at all. It comes with a lip gloss, and that is the only saving grace for this in regards to all the rest of them. I can layer that on top of the other ones and they look a lot better. One of them, I think is called Stone, is not too bad. I can just about get away with it. There's a peachy gold which makes me look ill, and then the other ones are too much of like, I look like I've got concealer on my lips. So this was a big fat waste of money more than anything else. Don't have any eyeshadow palettes to show you guys because I haven't really hated any of the ones that I bought. But what I did dislike from an eye collection or range are these Revolution Eye Glisten Foil and Glitter Liquid Eyeshadows. This came out very shortly after Huda Beauty released her matte metal eyeshadow duo thingies, whatever they're called. Makeup Revolution is known for duping companies. As soon as they do something, a couple of days later they'll come out with their own poor man's version, and that's exactly what they did. I'm not a big fan of the Huda Beauty ones, but I don't hate them, which is why they were not included in this video, and I still use them to this day. But these ones are absolutely dreadful. The glitter goes cakey and it peels off, it flakes off, you cannot layer it, it looks thick and awful, and it burned my eyes. I have never once come across a liquid glitter which burns my eyes until I used this. Then you've got the metal end, which once you apply it, oh nice, blend it, and where's the colour gone, and it's showing like a metal shade underneath. It's like got rusty shade underneath. It's like the pigment that they applied underneath the pigment It's weird, but whatever it is, these are absolutely dreadful. I hate them, and after this video they're going in the bin. I only kept them for the sake of this video. Now a couple of little miscellaneous things. The first one being, no surprise here, it's still in its box and I'm probably going to sell it or something. It's the Huda Beauty Nymph Not Your Mama's Pantyhose All Over Body Highlighter. My shade is in Aphrodite. This is supposedly for medium skin tones. I use this on my face like Huda Beauty likes to show us, telling us that this would turn me grey, because this is actually really good for the body but not for the face. Now, like I've said before, if a brand is going to show using a product in a certain kind of way, expect people like me who are reviewers of makeup to use it in the same kind of way. It don't work on the face. Nobody likes to look zombie grey. Nobody should use this on their face unless they're maybe just using it on their cheekbones, but on the rest of the face, no. On the body, it looks really nice, looks really shimmery, and the colour does not transfer. But the glitter and the shimmer in this transfers onto every single thing out there. If you're going onto the beach and you want to wear something like this, fine, don't forget your SPF though. You're not going to be rubbing it on anything. If you're wearing, like I was wearing black when I wore this, black 3/4 length trousers, it rubbed all over the trousers. Every time I crossed my legs, moved, brushed my legs onto something, the glitter and the shimmer came off. I really dislike this for that reason. This mascara is the Too Faced Damn Girl Mascara. It costs over £20. It's thick, it's gloopy, it does not separate the eyes, it thickens them slightly but it doesn't lengthen them. Then you've got this big fat brush which just hits the top of the eyes very easily. Despite how careful I can be or am, it just does not work. It's not worth the money. Drugstore products are so much better than this. This was a huge fat letdown. I've also got to show you guys two eyeshadow primers. The first one is the Anastasia Beverly Hills one. It's completely white pretty much when you apply it to the eyes, and it's very thick and very full coverage. Great. It does not last throughout the day. This one, I remember I wore it when I was abroad. It did not hold up. I wore it when I was in Paris and Selena was like, why is your eyeshadow starting to crease? I was like, oh my God. And the only reason I took it with me is because it's a bloody sample. But this one creases very, very quickly. I would expect a lot more from Anastasia Beverly Hills, but unfortunately this is a big letdown. Another one, which is a more affordable eyeshadow primer, is this one by Makeup Revolution called the Prime and Lock. I used it once, never using it again. I do like the fact that it's got a Bigfoot doe foot applicator, but even when I apply it, it dries patchy on the eyes and it creases pretty much immediately. Now last off, I'm going to show you some highlighters. The first one is this Dior Backstage Glow Face palette, and I got mine in the shade 002 Glitz, and it comes with two glitter strobes as well as two normal highlighters. Now the glitter strobes are not too bad, but they're very glittery, and the top ones, unfortunately, they just show up too much of the texture on my skin for me to consider using this on a regular basis. I actually tend to use this more on my eyes than I do on my face, but considering it's Dior, I kind of expected a lot more and was quite disappointed. Now the last one I'm going to show you guys is this one from Becca. It's from the Becca, Chloe and Malika collection, which was a release earlier on in 2019. They came out with two of these face palettes as well as some lipsticks and other things. I got the one which was for Chloe, made with love by Chloe, because it was described as being for fair and medium skin tones. I'm medium skin tone. None of these work for me. This bronzer barely shows up on my skin. The highlighting powders and everything, they barely work on my skin tone at all. I felt very disappointed. Do not say something is for medium skin tone when it really is not. Now I know you guys told me that the darker one performed a lot better and it would have been better if I'd bought that. However, why would I go and buy something for deep skin tones if I don't have deep skin tone, right? You can see my argument there. But this one, a complete letdown. It would only work for very, very fair skin tones. Otherwise, overall, it was a complete and utter waste of money for me. And that's it for my regrets for 2019. What did you guys think? I think I was quite reasonable considering I have bought a lot of makeup over the year and the reasonings that I've given behind them. I do reviews for you guys all the time, so obviously you've seen what I love and what I don't love and that sort of thing, and that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. For reference, I'm wearing Stila's Patina Shimmer on my lips. Like, comment, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.